Hello and welcome to the Fit and Free podcast. This is a podcast for women who want it all, to feel strong and confident in their bodies, as well as enjoying a sneaky mug on a Friday night. I'm an exercise physiologist and sports nutritionist, here to teach you how to achieve your body goals without food and your body controlling your life. So let's jump in. Hello you guys and welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, I have another special guest joining me, Ainsley. She is a rockstar personal trainer. She is jacked as fuck. And we had a beautiful conversation in and around training, how to get the most out of your training, how to overcome gym anxiety, and breaking down some common mistakes that people are making that are really stopping them from reaching their goals. So, let's jump in. But before we jump into today's episode, if you could please take one moment of your time to open up the Apple Podcast app and write me a quick review. If you're loving the podcast, it means so much to me and it really does help me and support the channel. Let's get into the episode. Ainsley, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing a bit about you and your story and who you help. So first of all, I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about you. Where did you start with your fitness journey and some of the barriers that you faced and how were you able to overcome them?
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Just about my fitness journey. So I think my interest in fitness was influenced by my dad initially. He was such a big gym junkie. He would go to the gym like 5 times a week and I would always go with him and I was always in that environment and I was very active as a kid as well. Then when I got to about teenager times, he started to show me around the gym, like different equipment, how to use it. And then I was sometimes going with him to train in the gym. So that was when I was about 15 or 16. And then when I graduated, I got a gym membership and I was going a few times a week, but only sticking to, lightweight in the lightweight section. I did a lot of cardio and then I started doing some group classes. So I was jumping on the Les Mills body pump classes.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, I feel like everyone has done body pump.
Been there.
Yeah. But that's when I started to learn how to lift with the correct technique, which I really loved. So the instructor at the time, she was actually leaving and she approached me and she's like, do you want to possibly become a Les Mills instructor? And then, about probably a few months later, I got my certificate and then I started running Les Mills body pump classes in the gym for about 2 years.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And then that's where it all started. And then at the time at the same gym, I made friends with one of the trainers there. So he would always give me guidance on how to structure a training program properly because by then I was getting to the point where I wanted to step outside of group classes and actually lift. Yeah. So he was giving me advice about training and nutrition. And then that's when I started to lift a little bit heavier. And that's when I started to see results. I started to get a bit of muscle gain. And I just love the process and just the feeling of, feeling strong. And then down the track, I got my Cert 3. And then I moved to Brisbane. And that's when I picked up some more group classes at another gym. And then in 2017, I started my PT Cert. And then that's when, I started to PT. But with regards to the barriers that I faced, mostly just lack of knowledge when I started my journey.
Yep.
So that would have been around 2012 where the fitness industry culture was so different for women. It was all about, looking skinny. It was the skinny me tea era.
Yep.
Again, we've been there.
Yeah.
And it was just to look toned but not too muscly. Like every other female out there believed that lifting weights would make you bulky and also eating too many carbs would make you fat.
Yep.
That's what I used to believe. And just lacking confidence and just feeling intimidated in the weight section when I first started training. So again, because I was so young, like I started properly training in my early 20s, it was just a confidence thing as well. And then also nutrition, I was scared to eat too much food. I was under the belief that eating too many carbs would make me fat.
Yeah.
And I was such a tiny thing, it's just crazy how I was so scared of putting on weight. And, for me to overcome those barriers over time, I studied and educated myself and I worked with other coaches and attended seminars and, all of those things really added up to getting that experience. And over time, I felt more comfortable as well. And also with nutrition, again, I educated myself. I did courses, I listened to podcasts, like follow the right things on social media, and that's where it really helped me overcome those barriers over time.
Yeah, and there's so much good stuff in that in terms of like really picking out the importance of education, right? Like, and that's something that I'm so heavily like passionate about in with my clients is like educating on them why they're doing what they're doing so they understand. It's not like, and I'm guarantee that you would do that too, because like it's not just like follow this meal plan or follow this exercise program. It's like, okay, we're doing this exercise because it's a hypertrophy phase and we're focusing on growing the muscles and growing the glutes, and then we'll move into a strength block, and like educating them on like the specifics that we're doing so then they understand as well, because number one, I think for them to like get on board with it, and the other thing as well is to like remain consistent, because I know definitely, I don't know about your clients, but for me it's like when they understand and they know what they're doing and why they're doing it, they get excited about it. Would you say that's the same for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes down to the knowledge part, 100%. And yeah, once I do start to give my clients the knowledge that they need, they feel empowered and they can
Yeah,
actually eventually go away and do it themselves, which is, you know, why we're here.
exactly. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I love how you brought up as well, like the fear of the weight gain and the fear of carbohydrates and the fear of, maybe looking bulky. And it's such an important conversation to have over and over again, because we really do need to normalize, right? Like that's how so many people are feeling. And if you're feeling like that, you're absolutely not alone. It's literally like that diet culture and what it has done to us and the conditioning that it's like been put on us, because literally
Yeah.
that's what we were looking at during those pivotal times, right, of learning and growing into like becoming a woman. But if you've been told you got to have those detox teas, of course it's what you're going to believe. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because it's really, really important to normalize it. So I love that you've always been in the gym and the story with your dad. That's so beautiful. What really got you into like more so like one-on-one personal training in comparison to doing the group thing? What was the big thing that really got you to switch across?
Well, I wanted to take the next step after being a group fitness instructor, and I wanted to work with females one on one just to help someone feel stronger and more confident in their own skin and what they're
Yeah.
capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know how much strength training helped me with my confidence and feeling comfortable and in my own skin and showing what I'm capable of, I just really wanted to help them, yeah, others, especially women, achieve that too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, I want to be able to coach other women who were once in my shoes.
Yeah.
And also personal training just naturally felt like it was something I was meant to do. And it was the next step,
Yeah.
yeah, after becoming an instructor. So yeah.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, you need to go check out Ainsley's Instagram, because honestly, she is absolutely jacked. Like, I love her activewear sets. Honestly, I swear to God, you've got like 50 of them. But
Yes.
actually, you're the reason why I started buying Crop Shop, because I actually love it, because she looks so freaking banging in it. But yeah, no, guys, like honestly, like the numbers she's lifting and her technique and her form is really, truly inspiring. So you definitely need to go and check her out. One thing you did say, which was really, really important, I think that we need to pick out, because the exact same thing happened to me. It's when you started following like a program and when you started doing that one-to-one instead of those group trainings is when you started seeing results.
Yes.
And we need to talk about that, I think, because I feel like that, like, it's such a common mistake, right? That people are making is like they're going into these group fitness gyms and just like lifting whatever and not like, training at the right intensity and all the stuff that's going wrong there. So I would love it if you could explain some of the biggest reasons why most women are not reaching their body goals before they come and work with you as a client, and even in your own experience, like what have you experienced?
Yeah, well, in my own experience to start with, yeah, like you said, I was doing so many group fitness classes. I was doing HIIT class, I was doing a cycle class, I was doing a body pump class, and then obviously I wasn't eating enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't seeing results. And it's funny because when I think back to it, the trainer that I made friends with, he was always like, eat a little bit more, just eat a little bit more. Not in a negative way, but he was just in a caring way.
Yeah.
If you want to see results, you need to start eating a little bit more and filling your body. But in terms of, the things that I see from clients before they come and see me, it's again, Firstly, it's just lack of knowledge and not understanding the process, whether that is fat loss or muscle growth. And there is so much misinformation out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone is not experienced, it can be so overwhelming, especially on social media. It's just things are just made so complicated, or again, the diet culture comes into play as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's so simple. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It's sticking to the right exercises, like to the same exercises, but maybe you're changing up the variation, the reps, the sets, tempo.
Yeah.
But it's so simple. And also, they come and see me because they want accountability.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, every client that I see, they need accountability and they want accountability. And, you know, even just teaching them with things like habits and just following a structured plan is huge. And also, you know, not they maybe have not stayed consistent for long enough in the gym to start seeing results.
Yes.
Because again, there's so much information out there that it's, you know, like a quick pill that will solve all your problems. You know, it takes time and it takes fucking hard work.
Absolutely. Oh, I love all of
Yeah.
those things for sure. And I think in the terms of accountability thing, I don't know. I had this conversation literally with Niels 2 days ago, and I personally like felt a little bit of shame that I admitted that I need accountability, because there was a part of me that was like, oh my God, you're not good enough. You can't self-motivate. But then I was
Mm,
like, hang on a minute. I think it's really powerful to have someone else in your corner, right? Like someone else who's cheering you on, because it's, yes, the accountability aspect is huge, but it's also the
mm,
other things that come with having that outside accountability person. And I know there's
mhm,
a lot of people out there who are not reaching out for help because they feel like they can do it alone, and they feel like they, all the things that I was feeling as well for a really long period of time. But having that external accountability is so, so helpful, because it's like, even on those days where you really, really don't want to show up, it's really on those days where you feel like you're not seeing results. It's the days where it's like, oh my God, what's the point? I'm going to, throw in the towel because I'm not there yet, is the really important part of having that accountability as well, because it's about the accountability of having your mindset, like having a mindset check, right?
oh yeah, that's huge. It's so huge.
Mm-hmm.
And like another thing that I forgot to mention is even women will come and see me because they're scared to lift that little bit heavier, or because they
Mm,
don't feel confident. And as women, I think we underestimate how much we are actually capable of as
mm.
well. Don't you think? It's,
Yeah, oh, I absolutely
huge.
agree. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I did some 1RM testing this week, and didn't realize that how much I could actually deadlift, because I definitely probably wasn't training hard enough. And then when I, did that test, I was like, whoa, I didn't know that I had that in me. So
Yeah.
and so I think it's absolutely, we don't really realize how much that we really can put into it, and how much we can, because it's that mindset, right, that's holding us back to being
Mm,
like, I'm afraid. I'm like, I've had back issues in the past. So there's a part of me that's like a little bit like apprehensive about, going a little bit heavier. But my back is fine. My back is,
yeah.
that's no longer an issue. It's been healed for a really long time now, but it's just that, the fear. It pops
Yeah.
in, for so many different ways, and it's a little bit sneaky sometimes, but
Mm.
that's a whole nother level of conversation, right? Breaking through fear.
Oh yeah. Yes. God, I could talk about that for
Um,
ages.
Um, so this is actually perfect, because moving into the space of gym anxiety, right? Because I know it's one of the biggest barriers for women to reaching their, physique goals and their full potential, is feeling intimidated to quote unquote. I like to call, because a lot of my clients are like, I don't want to go into the man section. Did you ever experience this feeling? I know that I did. And what are some of the mindset shifts that you had to make in order to get you feeling really confident there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did. I definitely in my early 20s when I started my fitness journey, I would always be really hesitant in the weight section, and I'd go hide down the far end when no one was there, or train in the women's section
Yeah.
because there was a women's section at the time. But the more experienced I became, the more I saw what I'm capable of when it comes to strength training, and more confident I felt. So that's when my mindset started to shift, and when I started appreciating what my body can do and not just focusing on the aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, just seeing a coach at the time really helped me because I was going in with a planary session. I felt like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I started to see progress. And yeah, that's what really, really helped me. And that's when I started to adopt the mindset that I get to show up every training session and to work on becoming a better, stronger, confident version of myself.
Oh, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
That is such a good mindset shift, and I absolutely
Yeah.
love that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it, right? Because a lot of people, like myself included, right? We go into the gym because of like it's fat loss or weight loss, or, for me, as I wanted to be smaller,
Hmm.
but like being able to, shift that focus and then really start focusing on performance rather than aesthetics is absolutely game changing, because you're completely right. It's like, how strong can I get? Like, how far can
Yeah.
I push this? How close to failure can I really, really like move? Like, for the first time in such a long time, and I don't know why I don't program it, but I put in tricep dips into my program, and I haven't done them
Yeah.
in so long, like ages. And I just did one, and I was like, what the hell? I can do a body weight like dip, and just that feeling that you get, right? And I'm sure that you've probably experienced that, because you like
Mm.
what you can lift is insane.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I've also started realizing, those little accessory movements are going to help us get stronger in our compound movements.
Yeah.
I never used to train arms that much or core or anything like that. But, in the last few months, I definitely have focused on that. And it helps. It helps with everything. It helps with, yeah, all of your big lifts. So
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely.
And, and also just the mindset that I've started to realize, and of course it probably comes with age and maturing, that no one cares what you're doing in the gym.
Yeah.
Like they're too busy focusing on themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a really good thing that people should remember if they're nervous.
Yeah, they're probably thinking exactly the same thing as what you're thinking, right? Like, don't think that you're special, that you think people are looking at you. The person over there is thinking exactly the same thing, right?
Exactly. You're not that special.
I say that with compassion, because I sometimes
Yeah,
do
of
get
course.
gym anxiety. Like, oh, I
Yes.
remember going to Bali in the Body Factory in the gym there, and there is some like ripped people, and there is a lot of like fitness influencers. There is a lot of fit people in there. So here's me feeling like really small all again, and I'm like trying to work out how to use this reverse hyper machine, and I'm just like, oh my god, I don't know how to do this. Everyone's looking at me, and so the feeling is real. But what are three things that can really help someone overcome this feeling? Because once you overcome it, and once you start lifting heavy, and like you've already said, the ripple effect on that is huge, right? Like your confidence
Mm.
increases, you hold yourself better in real life, and you just feel really good. So what are three things that can kind of get someone there?
Well, I think the top thing would be working with a coach is such a great investment. Whether you do that for a few months, it doesn't have to be forever.
Yeah.
Whether that's doing one-on-one PT or getting a program from a coach,
Yeah.
you'll just get so much out of that and learn so much. You'll
Mm.
learn the fundamentals and how to lift correctly. And, just say you go to a standard gym, signing up for a couple of PT sessions to begin with is always such a great idea,
Mhm.
because you can learn how to feel comfortable in that environment from the get go.
Yeah.
I feel like that gym anxiety will kind of just fade away if that's how you start. And obviously, the more experience you have under your belt, the more comfortable you're going to feel. So just keep showing up for yourself and putting in the repetitions, because the more you do something, the better you become at it,
Yes.
because consistency is key.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually really love that you say that, because I know it's such a limiting thing. I don't know with your
Mm.
clients, but definitely for my clients, in terms of like getting things right, getting things perfect, because that's like a
Yeah.
really big contributor to that gym anxiety, right? It's because I don't know how to do this. I'm going to look stupid. I'm not doing it perfect.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm bad. I'm embarrassed. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't handle being there. So I think it's really absolutely, you're completely right. And I remember moving into like following my own first program, like hiring that first person was absolutely pivotal into, number one, getting results. Like I literally was,
Yeah.
trying on my own, well, not trying on my own, but, with gym classes and that X, Y, and Z for like 3 years. The growth that I saw, following a program and actually applying progressive overload, the change that
Yeah.
happened within 6 months, I was like, this is the magic pill. Why aren't people doing this?
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? If you are still feeling nervous, or you feel like you feel stupid or whatever it is,
Mm,
go and train with a buddy. Bring a buddy
yeah.
with you, or bring someone who's experienced with you, whether that's your boyfriend, friend, whatever. Because the great thing is they can be your support and accountability person while you are getting comfortable in that environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
Yeah, just having that safety net, I guess, is a good way of putting that. Whether that's, yeah, someone you know, your partner, your friend, absolutely, it can be so beneficial. I love another thing that you said in terms of like consistency is the way you see results. And even
yeah.
before when you said like people are giving up too soon before they even see results. So on a realistic timeline, you've been training what? How many years now?
Okay, so I'm 30. I started training consistently since I was 20. So that's 10
10
years.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say is kind of like an accurate timeline of
Mm,
from like fueling your body correctly, actually training with structure, applying all the basic principles of, muscle hypertrophy and things like that. And I know this is such like a hard question to answer because I know it's like everyone's different, right?
yeah.
But like in terms of like really changing that body composition, like in terms of building some muscle and then like maybe dropping some fat, how long does that process really take?
Well, I guess, yeah, it depends on probably where you're at with your training age, how much experience you have under your belt,
Yeah.
where you're starting,
Hmm.
where your starting point is, that also comes into play.
Yeah.
But because I believe in sustainable results, I think, if you want sustainable results and you also want flexibility with your lifestyle, at least like 6 months,
Hmm.
put in the work, 6 months, and, that's going to allow you for some wriggle room, because you are still learning and about nutrition and training. But I really think, a good 6 month period is really going to set you up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. And my opinion is it takes longer than 6 months, to be honest, because
Yeah.
like, and I love how you said and you brought up training age because it's such an important thing to talk about. It's because like if you're a beginner in the gym and you're going in and, you're wanting to really grow your glutes, but you don't
Mm,
know how to properly do a deadlift or you properly don't know how to do a squat or even a hip thrust, like in order to get like really good results in the gym, you need to be executing those lifts correctly. And that's something I
yeah.
say to all my clients, right? It's like that first year of you in the gym is you're learning how to freaking do it because
Yeah.
the compound lifts are so technical. There's like all the things that you really have to nail and master in order to get that, full range of motion and making sure you're using the right muscles at the right time is a thing in itself. Of course,
Mm,
you can still see results from not having like perfect technique. Absolutely not. But it's just like, it's something that you then have to look at like, okay, cool. Like this is how am I going to find enjoyment over the time that I'm spending here now? Because it's like, this is no longer like a 12-week thing. Like this is something now that I have to really like be focusing kind of for 10 years.
yeah, you're in for the long
Right?
haul. Yeah. And to put that
Exactly.
in perspective, 6 months is like the absolute minimum. And again, like I said, it really just depends where you're at.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like that first month, like 6 months to a year. Yeah, again, it's like you're just learning everything. You're navigating everything, knowing how to, yeah, to live properly. Like it's not overnight. And it's funny because I have clients who will come and train with me and they say to me, "Oh, your form is so good." It's like, yes, I have 10 years
I've
experience.
been putting in the time.
Yeah, I've been putting in the work. So hopefully it's good.
Yes, and I actually want to pick your brain in terms of that because your technique is really stunning and it's like, those perfect lifts every time. Other than putting in the work, and we have to really like celebrate you for that and normalize that you do have to put in the work, right? What are some other things, like two things that you always do to be able to remain consistent and ultimately get the results that you do?
Well, firstly, making sure that I'm eating enough to fuel my body.
Yeah.
Because if you're training for performance, you need to fuel yourself. You need to fuel yourself before you train. And, just noticing a difference over the years versus where I wasn't really educated on nutrition versus where I am now.
Mhm.
Like it's such a huge difference. Making hitting my calories or eating enough protein and carbs for energy and, fats. And yeah, I think that's definitely number one. Also, progressive overload, that is key, especially if you want to build muscle and get strong. And really important, don't overdo it and prioritize rest and recovery and sleep because growth happens when we get adequate rest.
Oh, again, I love how you said that. I sat down with Jeannie, another PT, and we literally talked about the importance of sleep. So, and
Yeah.
this is more evidence if you guys are listening to this, right? It's like, what are we saying right now? Like, one, go to Ainsley to look at her results so you can have the evidence of, okay, this stuff works. And then what is she saying? She's saying eat more. She's saying progressive overload, follow a program. She's saying don't overdo it. Focus on rest and focus on sleep. It's like, right, we're looking for those, the quick fix. Well, not necessarily people are looking for the quick fix, but I think they're more looking for like something new because what they've done didn't work.
Mm.
Because the problem really is, and you said it before, is because it's that shiny new object syndrome. Like they do something, they try, and
Yeah.
they give up before they see results. So I think, yeah, it's like, holy crap, like you have to give
Mm.
yourself more time, right?
Oh yeah. And you know what? The thing about social media is that you see these people post these random workouts and people will think, oh, I'm going to try that. And then, they're not consistent with what their training structure is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's boring. The stuff that works is boring,
Yep.
really.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And that is
It's
such a thing
basic.
that I hear all the time. How do you help your clients overcome that?
Well, yeah, it's just like educating them, and I think what keeps my clients excited and hungry for progress is when they see themselves lifting that little bit heavier
Oh,
every single week. Well, not every single week, but yeah, seeing that progress. And a good tool for me is as a trainer is I film them and then
yeah.
I compare from their day one to month, whatever it is, or yeah, and they can see, wow, okay, I have really improved here. Because like you said earlier, there's some days where you'll come into a session and feel like you're not achieving anything.
Yes. I've been stuck in those. I call them the circle of doom. Anytime I like get triggered or whatever, it's like because you
Yeah,
really feel like it's the end of the world, and
yeah,
that's why it's important to have like that external source. Um,
yeah.
Another thing that you said was fueling your body correctly. So, what does that really look like? Like, what do you do in terms of like what do you have before you train, or what does your after gym workout meal look like?
Yeah. Well, before I train, I get like a quick source of carbs.
Mhm.
So I've been loving like an LCM bar or a piece of fruit or something like that. And then after the gym, I usually train in the morning. So when I get home, it'll be breakfast time. So I usually try to incorporate some good protein, carbs, and fats.
Mhm.
At the moment, I'm absolutely loving just scrambled eggs and I mix potato and like zucchini and mushrooms all in it together. I find that's like, and it just hits the spot. And a bit of avo hits the spot, and I stay satiated for a few hours until lunchtime.
How I'm trying to envision the potato situation. Like, oh God, potato is my fave. But do you
I
like
love
pre-cook
potatoes.
it before you put it in the scrambled eggs?
Yeah, yeah. So you chop them up really fine, and then I put it in a separate pot with some boiling water
Yep.
and let it cook for a couple minutes, and then I put it in my other sauce with eggs, so they're real soft.
Oh,
Yeah.
yum. I
Yeah.
love like
You
potato
try it.
like fritters and things like that. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that sounds like an absolute vibe. Cool. All right. So I love that in terms of like you're fueling, you're having something to eat before you train, you're definitely fueling your body after. How are you
Yep.
able to get over the mindset of eating more? How are you able to work through, learning how to change that mindset from food is bad to
Mm.
food is fuel?
Yeah, so getting over that mindset about more fueling your body, I think it comes down again, and I've said this so many times, down to education on nutrition,
Yeah.
and also yeah, it can be really scary to eat that little bit more, but a good thing is you can have strategy behind it. For example, if you are wanting to eat that little bit more, just slightly increase your calories every week. And, if you are working with a coach, check in with them, get measurements, or, even take photos. I think that's a really good tool. But the good thing is about when you eat more, you have more energy.
Yeah.
You have more energy to lift heavy
Yeah.
shit. And your hormones and, you know, women's health in general is just, you're more at an optimal level.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize that until you're there and you're eating so much food and you have so much energy and your sleep's better as well and your recovery's better.
Mm. Yeah, and
Mm,
that's it. I think it's about leaning into the fear and doing the shit
yeah.
that's scary in terms of eating more and then
Mm,
reaping the benefits and then building evidence of like that is now your new story. Like this is what happens
yeah.
because we're projecting that fear, right? Well, if I eat carbs and I'm going to get fat, But when you do it, you actually live through it and you're like, hang on a minute. I'm actually like, in some cases, a lot of women get leaner because they can train harder. They've got more energy. So they're doing more. Their NEAT increases without them really even realizing. And then, like you said, the health component is so, so important because that is something that like is not spoken about enough. I think is that like health should be like, if not the number one focus. And because it's so in and around, like, I want to lose weight. I want, my clothes to fit me a certain way. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. Like, are you healthy? Like, are you, and fueling your body correctly is health, right? So yeah. And that's something that really helped me in terms of shifting my mindset was also like, when I started focusing more so on my health, I saw results, right? Like when you start eating enough, eating the right macros, when you're, even getting all your micronutrients, and then like the flow on effect on your hormones and everything like that, like you said, is such a positive effect that happens. So
And absolutely. And if you want to see some gains and build some muscle, build a booty, you have to eat more.
Eat.
Gotta eat those, eat that food. It's a good position to be in.
Yeah. I remember going through my first surplus experience. Like, I'm not going to lie, it triggered me a little bit. I thought I was like fully okay with, eating all the food. But then when I like saw the numbers of like, like almost 3,000 calories, I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. Like, I've never gone like that high before. And it's just another fear that you have to work through. But then it's like, it's going back and understanding your why, just I think is really important, and trusting the process.
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. Your why and trusting your process. Yeah. Two big key things that I always check in with my clients about as well.
So I know we've mentioned this already, but I think it's such a really important topic that we need to talk more into is consistency. So consistency really is the key to training. And I know that you preach that. I also know that taking responsibility for your results is something that you also preach. And I'm so there for you with that. I saw what you posted this morning and I was like, yes, it's so true. So what are 3 things that are really going to help women stay consistent in the gym?
Well, firstly, setting yourself some small bite-sized goals that will help you with motivation and consistency. I think the smaller the goals, the better, and the more chance you will have at achieving them. So also don't set too many goals at once because it can be very overwhelming, whether that's going to the gym X amount of times a week or lifting that X amount of weight. So starting small, also setting yourself up with some habits that will, just help you be consistent in the gym every week. Like such as something so simple as laying your gym clothes out on the bed the night before, so you're ready to go. And also just planning out your weekly training sessions. What days are you going to train? Try and stay committed to those days. And of course, there's going to be times where you can't train, whatever reason. But what really matters is consistency where you can maintain that most of the time. And get a plan that works for you and what is you find that's more sustainable for you and your lifestyle. Because, at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own motivation and discipline. And, of course, don't forget to also have fun with that as well. Like find something that you enjoy.
Yeah, I love that. In terms of like the first thing you said, in terms of starting small, like that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is they try to turn their lives upside down and around. And, like they try to do everything at once. They try to hit the gym 5 days a week and they start to do their 10,000 steps. And then they start to, meal prep all their meals. Like all of those things has taken myself, like, 5 years to master the skills of those things. Like, so what the problem is people go in and then they get so overwhelmed and then it's like, oh my God, this is so hard. And as soon as it's so hard comes in, it's like, oh, I'm going to give up. Like I can't do it. And then I'm a failure because this is another thing that I've tried and now I've failed at. When really that's not the problem. The problem is not you. It's like you've tried to, change too many things at once. So therefore you feel like you're failing when really you need to be compassionate towards yourself for trying.
Yeah. Oh my God. Self-compassion is huge. And don't forget where we end up in a comparison trap where we might see these really fit slow people. What you have to remember is, okay, how many actual years of experience do they have? How long have they been doing this for? Yeah. And again, that's not the first thought that we think about, but it's also a good thing to be mindful of if you, get into that comparison trap.
Yeah, comparison is such a thing, right? And it's like we sit there and I like to look at comparison with two different lenses now, because I can see how it's such a useful tool, but when used in the negative way, it can be so harmful, right? We sit there and we're comparing ourselves. Like, I'd be comparing myself to you, for example, and you've got 10 years of experience under your belt where I would only have 3. So of course, like, if I could choose to sit there and be like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm not really good, I can't lift as much as her, like my muscles aren't as popping as hers, and make myself feel really bad about it. Or I could use it as, oh my God, look where I could be in 10 years and what's possible for me. But I think that's just because like I've done a lot of work on my mindset and being able to sit there now. But absolutely, comparison can be so harmful. So definitely in that space, if you're comparing yourself, get rid of it.
Oh yeah,
Pulling out
please
your
throw it in the
social
bin.
media.
Yes, but it's funny because I'll look at you, right, and I'll see, man, she's such like a successful, badass businesswoman. But yeah, again, flipping it around is like, oh, that's inspiration there. It's really just about how you perceive it, and you can always flip it on its head and think of it more in a positive light.
Exactly. And it's all about like building our awareness, and ultimately really it's knowing our own worth and believing in ourselves, because as soon as we're stuck in that comparison trap, right, like we're making it mean that I'm not as good as her, therefore I'm not good enough. And that really ties into that gym anxiety thing really well, because it's like, well, I'm not good here in the gym, that means I'm not good enough. So I think that's something is a really good takeaway point from all this conversation as well, is like the importance of knowing your own worth and knowing how freaking good you are. Self-admiration is it's a really hard skill to build, but it's going to ultimately help you in so many areas of your life in terms of the confidence within the gym. One more thing, sorry, I just wanted to say, in the having the plan thing, like that is huge in terms of like, you're completely right. And there's so many like weird, wacky things on social media, like, that you're seeing people doing squats on Bosu balls and stuff. I'm just like, the feeling that you get, right, from like, I even get someone else to write my exercise program. I think you're working with a coach too at the moment, or you were?
Yeah, I just finished, but I was following a structured program from another coach, and that was probably the first time I have followed a structured program with a coach for a long amount of time.
Yeah.
And it really changes everything.
Yeah, and how did it change? What are the specific things?
I just think I was way more focused.
Yep.
I have never been that focused ever in my health and fitness journey. So it was 6 months of following a training block, going from strength to hypertrophy.
Yeah.
And, because it's an investment, I just wanted to work as hard as I could and actually see what I was capable of.
Yeah.
And see results. Like, I was just in that mindset. It all comes back to being in that mindset, and you have to be ready. You have to be ready and you have to be committed.
Yeah, I love that. Investing in yourself is terrifying, but the fire it lights up your butt is huge. Like, oh my God, I have never moved so much or put as much effort in until I started investing in myself. And the benefits of it, I could go on for it forever, but that's
it's huge. But like, the good thing is you feel more confident showing up as a coach, and that reflects on how you coach your clients. Like, that's the biggest thing that I have realized as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the thing with anything. Like, if you invest in, you've got someone there to give you that external validation. At the end of the day, it's like you are going to be able to show up more confidently. So in the gym, you are going to pick up heavier weights. You are going to show up. You are going to commit because number one, you've invested money. You've got skin in the game. How many free ebooks have you downloaded and never used? I don't know, hands up.
Exactly.
I've got right? It's about actually committing, and there's a difference. And I think people think that they're committed, but if do they actually know what commitment means? Do they show up for themselves like they would show up as in all areas of their life like they do on that first day of the job? There is a different level of commitment, right? And I think that's definitely there's a skill that I'm still learning and building myself, but need to learn how to follow through and actually commit.
Stick and commit. That's the biggest thing. And the thing about that is they might get this huge spark of motivation to begin with.
Yeah.
But then motivation goes out the window, and that's when discipline comes into play. Yeah. You need to be disciplined to be able to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to mention there as well is I think it needs to be a healthy level of discipline as well, because I personally have been on the other side of unhealthy relationship with discipline in terms of like, I don't know, I would avoid social situations because I would have to go to the gym, or I'd have to go for a run because I hadn't burned enough calories in the day. So it's finding that healthy balance and utilizing it to your advantage to really get those good results, because number one, you absolutely need to be disciplined, but number two, maybe you have to pull back a bit and like enjoy your life a little bit. So
Yeah, no, you're so right. And yeah, it's about being mindful and knowing when you might have to take an extra day off to rest. If you pull up so sore from a session, have a rest day or take a week off sometimes. That's what I do. In the year, I might take a week off training, and oh my God, I come back better, I come back stronger.
Yeah.
And I'm not waking up feeling niggly and like my sleep isn't shitty. Like, you definitely need to know when to take time off.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like me this morning. I woke up and I was so sore. I was like, I'm not going to the gym today. I'm going for a slow walk and a coffee, and I'm here for it. But an old version of me, right, would have felt so
I love that.
guilty for that.
Yeah.
And that brings me into like perfect into this question, right? Like, I want to speak to intensity and recovery, because I know there is so many women out there who believe that they need to be like super sweaty or burning so many calories in order to see results. So what do you believe are signs of an effective workout, and what do you really need to do in order to see results?
Yeah. So I think, just following that structured program. And like you said before, you don't necessarily have to be absolutely shattered by the end of a workout. Like, you don't have to go to a hit session or whatever it is and be absolutely shattered. And also, a lot of people believe that if you don't, you have to be sore after every session. Like, you haven't worked hard enough. Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. But I think, if you wanting to train to intensity is making sure that, again, you're progressively overloading, and you're following a structured program where you'll have certain program blocks where you might like slowly over time want to build up some strength, so you'll start doing lesser reps or sets, and then from there you'll be able to push your limits a bit more. So I guess it just really depends on your experience as someone, because someone's intensity might be different to someone else's. Like, it really just depends.
Yeah, and it's definitely something you need to learn. Absolutely. Like, it's being able to train like actual close to your full potential and failure is a skill in its own. Like, I know personally for me, I probably don't push the 10 out of 10 RPE. Absolutely not. Like, for my deadlift the other day, I definitely got a little bit scared when I was lifting those heavier numbers. So it's definitely something that, like you said, comes with time and comes with practice and comes with learning, because at the end of the day, it's like we've got to learn the physical, but we also have to learn to tame the mind in that as well.
Yes, yeah, and not overdo it. And I'm the same. I can relate to that. At the end of my strength block, we were doing deadlifts, and I hurt my back in the past as well. So again, I was just had this constant fear in my head that I was going to do something to my back. And I guess the fear didn't go away, but it's just really just being able to train your mind and, just know and trusting yourself that, yes, you're okay. You've got this. Yeah.
And I love how you said like the signs of an effective workout is like, following that program and doing the same thing over and over again and applying progressive overload. And if you're new to this, if you don't know what progressive overload is, all it is literally doing a little bit more than you did the week before. So literally, if you're squatting, 40 kilos and then the next week you did 42 kilos, or if you did 40 kilos, 10 reps, the next week it could look like 11 reps or 12 reps at the same weight. Like, that's all it is. It's like really small increments. But when you think about it, like, you're at the end of the day, what you're doing with your strength training is you're breaking your muscles down and then repairing them with your nutrition. So if you're, breaking them down and they're repairing themselves and coming back stronger, you're going to need that new stimulus in order to break them down again. So that's why it's vital to be progressively overloading. And that is the sign of an effective workout, actually, getting stronger each and every week, because when you start getting stronger, your body composition changes in terms of you're building muscle. And depending where you are, like, right, with your nutrition, it's like you could be body recomping, sitting at maintenance. You could be, building muscle, sitting in that surplus. But then in the deficit, it's more like just holding on to your strength the best you can during the deficit.
Holding on for dear life.
Yeah. And then like dropping fat. So that's why it's Yeah, it's so important, right, to have it all lined up, because I know there's so many people out there, and maybe it's because I used to like listen to nutrition podcasts on repeat, but there had like such a big emphasis, right, on nutrition being king and then exercise being queen. And I actually really disagree with that. I really believe like if your goal, right, is to get tone and like, you know, get that lean athletic look that a lot of my clients personally are like striving towards, like your exercise is just as important as your nutrition, because it's the exercises is contributing to what your body looks like. Like, yes, the body fat percentage is absolutely everything with your nutrition, but you can't have a perky peach if you're not strength training. So I absolutely believe that they are
Preach.
they are both important. And then I could even say now your mindset work is on that same level as well, like the importance of that.
Yeah, they're all up there. I feel like they're equal. Like you need those three things to be able to be successful. You need
Yeah.
that and you need structure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. It's because it's like that mindset component of it, right? Is like it's the consistency. And if you're not working on the mindset, you're probably not going to be consistent. And that's like if you're not being consistent, sorry, you're not going to see results.
Yeah, exactly. It all comes back to the consistency. It all just ties back into that.
One day everyone will believe us.
Yes, one day.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, thank you so much. I've really loved this chat.
Mm.
But no, I don't think I have anything else to add. I feel like we've covered a whole lot of awesome topics and we spoke about some epic things and some really good nuggets in there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
If people are interested in reaching out, where do they find you? And what's kind of like in the next 6 months for you and your biz?
Well, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's gains with Ains _. And in terms of business, I'm, wanting to branch out to more of the online space at the moment. So, I'm really just getting myself geared up for that and, just doing some more planning and what my business to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about just, scaling and growing this year.
Yeah.
And obviously, nurturing my amazing clients that I already have. But yeah, I just really want to, have more reach and help more women out there that are struggling with the things that we used to struggle with.
Yeah.
It's such a passion of mine. And yeah.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Like, hence the reason I love what I do, right? Like that feeling that you get from helping the women go from their starting point to like lifting heavy or eating more or feeling more confident within themselves or feeling healthier, more energy is like so fulfilling. So
yeah, there's nothing that lights me up more is when I see a client who I'm training and, I'll put on some weight and they think, oh my God, I can't do that.
yes.
And they do it and they just say, oh my God, they just so impressed.
Yeah.
That just lights me up. I love it.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Thank you all so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you all. Just a quick reminder that the Fit and Free Academy is open for enrollment right now. If you're sick of grinding, if you're sick of afraid to increase your calories, if you want to feel free with your food and you want to look fit AF, then this is for you. It literally is a life-changing experience that is going to help you overcome all your fears in and around food and finally get the body that you want. If you are interested, the link is in the show notes to apply. I love you all and I'll see you next week.